Lowkie. I'm so excited to talk to you. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Good. So today we're talking about Aries season, right?
The best season.
The best season. What are the dates of Aries?
March 21st through April 19th.
Okay, cool. So we
Yeah,
just started, what, last
we did.
weekend?
Yeah, we just started Aries season. Things are just getting rolling. It's going to be an interesting one.
All right. Well, you guys, welcome back to Thrive and Design. I'm your host, Blair Cho. I am here with Lowkie Reed. We are doing a series on astrological signs throughout the year. Like Loki said, today we are diving into Aries season. So if you guys would like to listen, please stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe. All right, let's go ahead. So tell me about a typical Aries.
Aries, they are leaders. They are headstrong, very much have an idea and then just kind of go with it and see what happens. But also, it's really good for Aries to have a support team of other signs because Aries likes to start things and then never finish them.
I sound like an Aries.
Yeah, well, you are also a fire sign,
Yeah.
so we Aries, we can. I'm gonna try not to talk about myself the whole time, but I kid you not, one of the things is that we're a little selfish. So I'm gonna do my best.
So you are an Aries.
I am. My birthday is
Okay.
next week.
Happy early birthday. That's awesome.
Yeah. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. So we can be very open and a little impatient and very rash. It's a lot of like, oh, this is an idea, and then we just kind of go. And then if we run into a stop, if it's too hard, we get bored. And until we get distracted by something else, and we go do that instead. Which is, which is why I know so many things about so many things.
Yeah. Loki is
I get
a
this,
source of some random information.
I got all kinds.
Yeah.
But we can be very adventurous, which can manifest as being someone who likes to try a lot of different foods, or being someone who is very like a sports person, like likes to play lots of sports or like hiking. That's kind of my adventurous niche. But a lot of times you'll see if you like reading just like stuff online, you'll see about how because we're competitive, passionate, and adventurous, we like sports. And I'm like, well, not me, but
Yeah.
okay. But yeah, you'll find a lot of, especially folks who like lots of different sports. They have to have one during all seasons. That's an Aries
Interesting.
stereotype. Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
I guess my husband is an Aries then. I just
Hmm.
made that connection. He's March 22nd
Yep,
and he
yep.
likes, well, he likes baseball and football pretty much just to have something on. It's
Uh-huh.
not really like I am dedicated to this team. It's more so just like I'll watch whoever's playing because I want to have the sports
Yeah,
game on.
yeah, exactly. I would like to watch the thing. Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. Absolutely, that's an Aries trait. Aries can also struggle with boundaries because we're such go-getters. We can say yes to everything and think with our full chest that we can do it all until we get there and find out we can't. That is something I struggle with.
My husband does not. He's quick to say no.
That's good though. Like that's
Is it
you gotta build
though?
that up. Well,
Is it?
neither of them are good,
Yeah.
but it's nice that as despite being an Aries, he's built some boundaries.
Yeah.
But and again, this goes into the rest of his chart.
Right. Right.
But Aries can also, we're typically the first to help, again, mostly because we don't think it through. So we're just like, sure, I'll help. And then 3 days later, we realize how much of a commitment that actually was. Yeah, that's very me. When when people need help, the number of times I've gone to my husband and been like, so and so is this going on, and they need help, and he's like, you're doing four other things that day. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
you can't actually buy school supplies for every child in the district. You cannot
Yeah.
do that.
I know. I get told things like that too. Although for me, usually I'm like, I volunteer my husband to do that. Like,
Hmm.
you need help? He's available.
But yeah, Aries can also be a lot. We can be the type of people, we're very demanding of people's attention and time, just as, our friends, our partners. I'm a little introverted, so I'm not that so much, but I very much get annoyed if, like, none of my friends will text me right now because they're all busy. And I'm not really mad at them, but I'm like, but somebody has to talk to me. Who's gonna talk to me? I can't exist unless somebody talks to me. So I could be like that. Or like if I need something from my partner and he doesn't text me back right away, despite the fact that I know he doesn't keep his phone on him when he's working. Not actually mad at him, I'm just annoyed.
Mad at the situation.
Yeah, but that's it's a maturity thing, I think, because
Yeah.
I definitely used to get mad at them.
Yeah.
Teenage me was a very different. Yeah, Aries can just be a lot. Big, loud. That's very me. So if you can't handle that, probably don't hang out with me.
So Aries are big, bold,
Loud.
boisterous, crazy, loud.
Yeah.
That is the total
Yeah.
opposite of my husband. He is like he can talk to anybody. He'll laugh and
Hmm.
joke around, but he is not one for like interacting. I don't know. I say that and then I think of social situations and I'm like, he always makes friends. Like people, he gravitates and I don't know. He pulls people in. He sucks them in.
Yep. Yep. That's very Aries. And also, his other signs could affect that. I am a Cancer moon, and that kind of makes me a little more reserved than the typical Aries. I'm more likely to be loud and boisterous with the people I'm closest with than just in general. In a party setting, I'm more likely to not say a word.
Right.
So,
Right.
it all depends on.
A quick question. So,
Yeah.
just to recap some things that we've talked about in the past. So, when you're talking about your birth chart, you have your sun sign, which in this case for you would be Aries, your moon sign, which in this case for you is Cancer, and is it your rise? What's the third
Right,
thing?
right. The third big three is your rising sign.
Rising sign. Okay. I kept thinking like Jupiter rising, but that didn't
Yeah,
sound
you do have a Jupiter though. Everybody
right.
does.
Okay.
We
Okay.
have one for all the planets and several other celestial bodies, but like I don't even know what mine are for those. So I don't
Okay.
know what most of my other planets are.
Yeah.
I don't. I just track my big three mostly.
What does it mean when you read stuff and they're like, it's in your 12th house or whatever? What does that mean?
That is definitely a question for someone who knows more about astrology than me. I have not been able to figure out the houses thing.
Okay.
It has something to do with the position of your chart, and I don't. I got nothing.
Okay.
I think that's a step above what I do.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I wish I knew. I'd love to tell you. Maybe that podcast that I always talk about would know. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head right now.
Yeah. We need to find
Um,
out more.
yeah, it's like we need another person.
You know
But
what?
yeah,
Maybe we could invite that podcast person to be on here.
maybe. I
That would
don't
be
know. We
cool.
could ask.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh my gosh. Let's do it. Let's
The
do it.
worst that could happen is he says no,
Yes, that 100%.
and we're where we are.
Yep.
So we talked about Aries season being from March 21st to April 19th. Our symbol is the ram. We are a fire sign. The tarot card that's associated with Aries is the Emperor card because it's very much from a place of like authority and protection. Aries are very protective. And you could ask anyone in my life, my first response to anything going wrong is, would you like me to fight them?
Oh, that's so noble of you.
That's just who I am. I,
Willing to fight at a
yeah,
moment's notice.
absolutely. And I walk with a cane, so it's
Oh,
probably going to be a great fight, but
that's
I'll
awesome.
try.
Just give it your best.
I tell my kids all the time, just because I can doesn't mean I need to be doing it all the time. If I
Right.
wanted to, I absolutely could. This is a total tangent. We use the public transit system a lot, and
Hmm.
we were crossing the road, and I like missed a signal or something. The point is, there was a car coming, and I needed to move quickly, and I ran. And all three of my kids were like, "I don't think I've ever seen you run before." And I'm like, "Just because I can.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
I ran all the time, I'd be in worse pain than I'm in.
Yep.
But if I need to, I absolutely can."
Yep. My kids never see me run, but hopefully
Yeah,
they know that I could if,
yeah.
danger,
Yeah,
something.
and you don't walk with a cane. I think my kids just kind of assume because they don't. My younger two don't remember before I walked with a cane. They were really little when I started doing it, and my oldest does, but she's been around for the deterioration of my hip, so like she's seen it get worse and worse, and so she knows. She's like, I didn't know you could still do that, and I'm like, well,
Yeah, that's funny because today I was just telling my kids that, like, if there's danger or something and you run, I was like, you don't have to be the fastest, you just can't be the slowest. Like, if
exactly.
you have to push those other kids down, leave them
Hmm.
behind, keep going.
Just go.
They're like,
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. No, my kids would have the exact same reaction. They would be
yeah,
like, absolutely not. Because
yeah. I'm like, look, do it. You gotta
yeah.
do it. You gotta sacrifice them to save yourself.
Yep. Yep.
Is that twisted?
No, they're your kids, man. If I had the option between my kids and somebody, would I protect
Right.
any child at any time? Yes. If I had an option
Yes.
between my kids and somebody else's kid, I pick my kids.
Yes.
That's just how it
100%.
is.
Yep. That's right. That's how I see it. Throw the
Yeah.
other kids down and you
Yeah.
run. Protect
Yeah.
your.
Yeah. And,
Yep.
hopefully you both get out.
Yeah. But, they have a worse chance than you.
Yeah. Gotta play the odds. Speaking of, Aries is very Mars ruled, which is where a lot of that aggression comes from. Mars is definitely, it's the planet of anger and passion, and I mean, it's named after a war deity for a reason.
Yeah. And it's red, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so is Aries.
Yes.
When I was double checking my colors list, every single picture was just different shades of red. And I'm like,
Nice.
okay, so just the entire spectrum. Got it.
Yes. So Aries, red.
Yes, red fire.
So what about crystals? Are there a lot of red crystals?
Yeah, actually, bloodstone has red to it. It's a green and red.
Okay.
Um,
Like Christmas.
Carnelian, yeah. Except, more focused on, well, energetically, it's more focused on like healing and stuff.
Oh, okay.
It's like it's the one when my kids are sick that I pull out,
Oh,
that kind of
that's a
thing.
good idea.
Yeah, or like when my middle had her surgeries, they wouldn't let me give it to her, but I had her carry it all day, and
Hmm.
then like I held on to it, and then as soon as she got out, I put it back with her.
It's really nice to have that knowledge so that, you can use stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean it's my equivalent to praying.
Yeah.
It's a religious, for me, it's religious.
Right.
I believe that this will help. A carnelian, which is a type of agate, is also red, specifically red jasper. Those are all Aries crystals. And then also diamond, because it's our most prominent birthstone, because mostly April. The most prominent Aries birthstone, since Aries exists mostly in April. And then clear quartz, just because it's got that focus. Quartz is what you use to focus energy or amplify it, and that's just pure Aries energy.
What about Ruby? Like, I know Ruby's me, Leo,
Yeah,
July, but
yeah.
I
Well, you're
mean,
also a fire sign.
yeah, but
Energetic.
Leo doesn't seem like it seems like purple, like royal
Yeah,
majestic. It doesn't seem like red.
yeah, yeah. No, it's definitely a different color spectrum for Leo.
Hmm.
Leo also does a lot of shades of yellow because you got to think about like they're very sun oriented, they're
Hmm.
big mane, that kind of thing. But Ruby for Aries, like you could. Ruby has an energy. I don't work with Ruby a lot. I have one. It can be a little chill for Aries. It's a
Really?
little, yeah. Ruby it's more romance than,
Oh,
and Aries are definitely passionate.
gotcha. I feel like just people in the crystal world in general always work with garnet as opposed to ruby. You don't really hear about people working with ruby.
Yeah, Garnet is definitely more Aries energy. That's a little more passion. That's a little more adult. I don't know how censored you want to be. Adult time oriented than Ruby
Gotcha.
is. In fact, the most common you'll see is ruby and zoisite. Zoisite is a different crystal, but it frequently, almost always, has ruby inclusions, and that's when you'll see it used. And that definitely has its own energy. I use that a lot for like luck, money stuff, and love stuff, but not grown-up time stuff,
Gotcha.
to be clear. Not that those things can't be together, just that that's not what we're looking for with them.
Right.
But I do have that. Speaking of being like headstrong and stuff, because we've talked about the body parts associated with different signs, Aries is the head, which includes the brain and eyes. So we're prone to headaches, prone to needing glasses. Not everybody, but like it happens. Also prone to mental illness because of our brains. But again, this isn't set in stone. This is just like more than other people.
Well, my husband, who, again, I hate to keep bringing him up, but he's
No,
the
it's all good.
only Aries that I know.
Well,
So
you
it's
know me.
applicable. Yep. So you and my husband.
Uh-huh.
So he also has glasses,
Mhm.
and I swear he has undiagnosed multiple different things. He refuses to see anyone, but that's my opinion. So yes, I
Yeah.
agree. Aries, yes.
Yeah, they're stubborn. He's being stubborn about it, maybe.
Yes, for sure.
A little.
100%.
Yeah, yeah.
I
No,
don't
I
need
understand
that.
it. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I can do it by myself.
Yes, that's what he says. Everybody gets down sometimes. You just have to pick yourself up.
That's very Aries energy. Yeah. The opposite of Aries is Libra. I actually don't know a whole lot of Libras, so I don't have a point of reference for that. Maybe that's why I don't know a whole lot of Libras. But Libras are very much like planners, where Aries is not. So I see how they're that polar opposite.
Right.
Libras are the type who, because they're trying to balance everything, because they have scales, they try and slow Aries down. Aries is like, nope, I'm just doing this. And just to step back a second, to the stubbornness thing, I was just remembering my brother and I'm an Aries, he's a Taurus, and we're both incredibly stubborn, but in very different ways. I am very much the I am gonna think of the first thing, and that's what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna commit to it. And he's gonna think of the most logical way and commit to that.
Mm. So who usually wins?
He does, because I'm old enough now to acknowledge that, oh, that's the better way to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he's very supportive of my impulsivity. He's like, absolutely, got your back. But maybe if you did it this way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
Helpful.
Yeah, he frequently helps me at my vendor booth stuff, and I'll start doing something, and he's like, and I'm like, oh, this is why you're here. I would have
Awesome.
done it the hard way.
Yeah.
So Aries is the first fire sign as well as the first sign of the zodiac. We're in the astrological new year now. So again, leadership, big Aries trait. But then you also have that rashness and that impulsivity. So when you're thinking of like a younger person, because not exactly, not perfectly, but the zodiac is also like age progression. So like Aries is a very young person, whereas Pisces is an older person.
Okay.
But that doesn't always manifest. I find that a little weird. I'm like, that almost never lines up for me. But okay, they did ask me.
We're
But yeah,
gonna
we're
have
at the
to
beginning.
ask the guy from the other podcast.
We would, yeah, he'll know.
Yeah.
He'll know.
When he's on, we'll ask him.
Yeah, we'll make a list. Anyway, so some famous Arians with a I, not a Y, to be very,
Okay.
very clear.
Yes. Yes. Make that clear.
Yes, Lady Gaga, Robert Downey Jr.,
Okay.
Diana Ross,
Okay.
and Vincent Van Gogh.
Interesting.
Yeah. There's several more, but I didn't write those down. I know off the top of my head, Leonardo da Vinci was also an Aries.
Wow. Creative type.
Yeah. Eddie Murphy, we actually share a birthday.
Interesting.
Yeah. Which is the only reason I know that he's an Aries. Because we have the same birthday. He's my famous person, that I have a birthday with. Yeah. So we talked about them being leaders, brave, ambitious, passionate, initiators, very open.
So what do you for an Aries would be like the perfect career path? Would it be like creative in the spotlight?
Not necessarily in the spotlight, though that could be good. For some Aries who like that, but definitely leadership roles. So management, CEO, anything like that. Professional sports, again, that like contact. If they're more of an outdoorsy Aries, then like tour guide, park ranger, that kind of like outside adventure. I run my own business. I run my witchcraft business, and then also I'm working toward my doula certification, and while that's less being in charge, that definitely speaks to the like helping hand,
Yeah.
willing to drop everything and run, stubborn, because if you're gonna sit with somebody through a labor, you gotta be able to be there. And also struggling with boundaries, because when you put yourself on call for somebody's birth, it's a lot of like, no, well, I have to go do this now.
Quick question. So
Yeah.
I know you're studying to be a doula. Did we talk about this before? Birth doula or birth and death doula? Or do you train for each or you train for all of them together?
So I'm working toward my birth doula certification. Right now, that is the only thing I can commit to because I have my kids, but I have a teenager, so I have some room to bail if I need to. But I could not be like a postpartum doula because I could not commit to going to someone else's home every night for a certain amount of time or over the course of several weeks. Just because I can't not be home that much. But, and I do intend to work toward that when my kids are a little older and also work toward being a death doula. It all just falls under that village witch umbrella. I just want to be able to
Right.
serve my community from that perspective. So it's on the to-do list.
I think that's cool.
Yeah. But right now I'm just working toward the birth doula. Technically right now I'm a doula, but insurance won't cover me. So I have to do some more steps to where people's insurance will pay for me.
Gotcha. Do you think that varies by state, or are there like federal regulations about doulas?
It varies by state because some places won't even cover them at all.
Yeah.
I just happen to live in Washington where they cover a lot of stuff like that, which is really nice.
Yeah, I work full time with military health insurance, and they definitely do not cover doulas.
No, I wouldn't think so. It's just sad. But yeah, even Washington's like state insurance will cover doulas.
Wow.
Yeah, but I still have to have my certifications. So yeah, so there's no legal, I can go be a doula for anybody. But if I want insurance to cover me, I have to do the extra steps.
Gotcha.
And also, some people like hearing that you're a certified doula, that
Yeah.
sounds nice.
Yeah. Like I'm a certified grocery store cashier.
Yeah, exactly. That just sounds like you're better
It,
at it than other people.
yeah, it shouldn't make
Yeah,
a difference. As long as you know what you're doing and you're good at what you do, who cares?
exactly. But if I want insurance to cover me, I have to go through all the
Gotcha.
steps. So if anyone in the Washington area is looking for a doula,
Yeah.
let me know.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, guys, if this is your first time tuning in, Lowkie is in the Pacific Northwest.
Yes, the greater Seattle area.
They're a practicing witch and they know a ton about a ton of stuff. And like they just said, learning to be a doula, almost certified. So,
Almost.
yeah.
Yep. A few more steps. I've been through the hard part, which was the classes. So
Awesome.
I just have to get write up from clients saying I did it and I was good at it, and I have to write a couple of papers.
Okay. So, how many births have you been a part of?
Mine, and that's it so far. I just finished my classes in November, the end of November,
Okay.
and then I took some time off for the holidays, followed by my teenager's birthday immediately. And now I am working on building my website and getting my insurance because you need to have insurance
Right.
and all those steps. I've got a big long to-do list.
Well, yeah. Sounds like.
Yeah, but I will be putting myself up on doulamatch.com sometime very soon.
Oh,
Probably
that
in the
was
next
a
couple of weeks.
thing.
It is, and
That's
it's
cool.
awesome.
That's
It's so
cool.
awesome. Yeah.
That's super cool.
And at least in the greater Seattle area, which is where I live, you're looking for a doula and you find someone, even just me, and you realize that that's not going to work for whatever reason. Your personalities don't vibe. We all know each other. So if you tell me this isn't going to work for these reasons, I'm like, I know somebody who isn't like that, and I will give you their phone number.
I have a random question. So I know we're getting super off topic here with the whole doula thing, but even more off topic, have you ever heard of a silent book club?
Yes, I have heard of those.
So because you're in like a more urban area, I feel like maybe it's more common there, or you guys, because apparently there's a website for it where you can like there's ones in different cities that have already formed officially and you can meet up with them. Yeah, I think that's really cool. Have
That
you
is
ever
super cool.
participated?
I've never done that. I'm an audiobook person and I read fast. So when I do read, I tend to, even in audiobooks, I will amp up the speed because it's too slow.
Cool.
Because I have an Aries.
Well, I mean, apparently with silent book clubs, you could sit there with your headphones in
Yeah,
and just listen, like you're just
absolutely.
all listening together. If
Yeah,
anybody
absolutely.
doesn't know what a silent book club is, and
Right.
you may know more about it than I do. I have just recently learned about it via a podcast that I was listening to. But it's basically you guys get together, you read or listen to an audiobook. You don't have a set book, a set topic. You don't have to discuss anything or talk about anything. You can meet at a cafe, at a library, whatever, just sit together, read together for however long, 30 minutes, whatever, get up and leave. You guys can chit chat if you want to. Otherwise, just continue on about your day.
Yeah, yeah. It's very good for people who like having people around but don't want to talk about
Yeah.
stuff.
They
Yeah.
were saying in the podcast episode that just having that form of connection, just
Uh-huh.
having someone like sitting close to you, whether you're
Uh-huh.
talking to them or not, is so beneficial to your mental health. Like, that's wild to me.
We're a social animal. We need people.
Yeah.
And sometimes we can't handle the typical socializations. I think it's great that we as a culture are finding social things to do that aren't drinking at a club, essentially.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the big thing, you know?
Yeah. I think it's kind of cool too because it takes the pressure off. Like, small talk. I don't know you that well. What are we going to discuss? I don't have anything to say. Like, you could just sit there and just immerse yourself in whatever you're reading, magazine, book, comic book, whatever, and just, benefit your brain and your mind.
Yep. Pull away that social anxiety. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. I think, I don't know that they have any in my area because I'm in a very suburban area, but I told some of my friends on Facebook that showed interest. I was like, listen, I'll host, like, just come over. We'll set the kids free in the backyard and we'll just sit there and read. I can give you guys some hot tea. I don't know, but I don't want to talk to you. I just want to sit here and read.
Bring your own beverage.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea. I don't do silent book clubs, not because I don't think they're very, very cool, but because if I am away from my kids, I need grown-ups to talk to. Because 0.9% of my life is talking to a 14-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 6-year-old.
Right.
And I love them, but I would like to talk to an adult, please.
No, I get that 100%.
When we get on our D&D calls for Dungeons and Dragons, there is at least like 45 minutes of me just talking. And they're like, okay, but we would like to play the game. And I'm like, I know, but I don't talk to grown-ups.
Yeah. I just need to get this out.
Yeah.
I just need to talk about my grocery list.
Yeah.
Have an adult topic conversation.
I need to be able to tell you about my feelings because I can't tell my kids about my feelings.
Yes, for sure.
That's a boundary you have to have with
your kids. Oh my God.
It drives me nuts. My kids are so empathetic and a little nosy, and so they just like keep pushing. And I'm like, look, I'm a grown up, you are a child. When this is different, maybe we'll talk about that stuff, but I need to have some privacy from you. That's just the way it is.
It is hard because, especially when you're upset and you want to just like vent and get it all out, and your kids are like, what's wrong? What's wrong? Tell me. And you're like, oh my God, like I cannot. I just have to sit here and calm down and act like everything's good, and you have no one to vent to. I was thinking the other day, and I told my therapist this, I was like, I feel like being an adult is just like, you feel terrible and you have no one to talk to about it. Yeah. Yep. That's depressing.
Yeah. And like, I could talk to my partner. He's very empathetic. He is a Cancer sun, so he's very empathetic and stuff, but he also works a lot. So I don't see him very often.
Yeah.
A few hours a week. So, and a lot of that time he's sleeping.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat.
Yeah. He's a good guy. He's just working.
Yeah. My husband works a lot too. He doesn't get home until very late at night. And so when I get up in the morning, he's still asleep. And then I see him on weekends, but he, wants time to chill and maybe do his own thing and relax. And it's annoying to me. I want to spend every single second that we have free together, because otherwise it's just me and the kids constantly.
Yeah, exactly. And like, my partner gets to talk to grown-ups at work.
Yeah.
I don't talk to grown-ups. I don't even have that.
Yeah.
No, my partner, he leaves before I wake up. He leaves very early because his commute is kind of long. And so even though he gets off in the afternoon, first of all, he doesn't always leave on time, almost never. I have been married to him for 15 years, and I can probably count on one hand the number of times he has left work when he was scheduled to.
Wow.
Because he will always stay and do more work. He
dedicated.
Always. Yeah. Well, and he can't stand to leave something unfinished. So he'll wrap up whatever he's doing. Or he can't stand to leave the next shift with something difficult. So he'll like help. He can't.
Is that a very Cancer trait, or is that just a him trait?
He definitely amplifies it with his own personality, but Cancer's soft on the inside, hard on the outside.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So they're very like, I will sacrifice to help everyone else because I have this hard exterior, and they usually feel very lonely about it. And that's a whole other thing about my husband that we'll get to another time.
That is a whole nother episode.
It's the whole Cancer episode. But yeah, so have never known him to get off work on time, never. And then he has the commute home, and then he wants to spend time with the kids because he hasn't seen them all day. And I also need a break from the kids, so that works out. Yeah. And then they go to bed, and like sometimes we'll do something together, or sometimes he just wants to play his video games for a couple hours or an hour before he goes to bed.
Yeah.
And then he works weekends. He has 2 jobs on the weekends. So if he is home, he's sleeping. Yeah.
That sucks. It makes it really hard.
It is rough. And I know he listens, so I appreciate every minute of it.
Thank you for listening. Make sure you subscribe.
I'm sure he has. But I send him the link every time. But he did not, when we got married, I was not disabled.
Okay.
And I feel a lot of guilt about becoming disabled and not being able to contribute financially to the house very much. And so
Right.
that's a whole other marriage thing.
Right.
That's for my marriage counselor that I don't have.
Right. Right. That's for your marriage counselor, not the internet. No,
Yeah,
I'm
but
just kidding.
anyways,
If
yes,
you ever want to
we'll
share,
cut it. Yeah,
feel free. But yes, gotcha.
yeah, we can just cut it. But anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
point is, I that's kind of our dynamic. So he works a lot, and I'm with the kids a lot because that's what I can do. That's how we keep saying we will go back to being married as soon as our kids grow up.
Yeah.
As soon as our kids grow up, we'll be a couple.
Oh,
Anyway, Aries, something about myself. Oh, we got sidetracked because I'm talking about myself? That's me.
yeah.
We did the crystals. We talked about colors, red, copper, orange, yellow, and blue, flame colors.
That makes sense.
That's what you want to think of with an Aries. You're thinking of flame color because Aries is the flame. Herbs. We're gonna talk about herbs. So, I've written down several, but mostly if it's a strong smelling punch you in the face herb, probably an Aries herb.
Really. So give me some examples.
Ginger, basil, rosemary, skullcap, mint, geranium, rue, cinnamon,
Mm,
clove, all super strong smells and flavors. And so they're definitely just, if it's going to punch you in the face, it's probably an Aries.
that's cool. Speaking of, and you may appreciate this because you like foraging, I guess would be the term. My son is super into, once he found out that you can eat wild green onions, he's like picking them all over the
Yeah,
place. Everywhere he goes,
yeah.
green onions. So earlier today, we washed some, cut them up, put them in Tupperware in the fridge. So he's very excited. He's like, it smells so good. Because we learned if it smells like garlic or onion, it is edible.
hmm
So he's smelling everything. He's like, this smells just like garlic. It's perfect.
Oh my goodness.
My kids
Oh,
love
that's so cool.
onions.
Yeah. My kids do not, mostly because my husband dislikes them to the point that it might as well be an allergy. Like it's visceral and he cannot control it.
He's missing out.
Yeah, I hate it for him. But so we don't ever have it
Mm,
because so they have no, when they do have it, it's just strong to them. And they're like, I don't like that.
yeah.
So I like onions.
Yeah,
I
me
will
too.
make, if I can manage to cook myself an early lunch so that the house won't smell like onions when my partner comes home, I will cook some for myself or I order them when I go out. But
Gotcha.
I just don't. Nope. He can't handle it. And bless
Yeah.
him, that's the thing I think I can live.
My kids are half Korean, so they are used
Mm,
to eating stinky, smelly, crazy
hmm
food. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not odd for them at all.
Yeah, that's great though. I wish my
Yeah.
kids were more adventurous with food.
Yeah.
I've tried. I definitely didn't do the stereotypical like give them super bland things when they're kids.
Hmm.
They're all neurodivergent. My middle though loves vinegar and
Mm,
a little bit of spice. She can't
random.
handle it too spicy, but she's 8 and
Yeah.
like is like, can I put just a little hot sauce on this?
Oh.
8.
Yeah.
And she loves bitter. She doesn't like sweets. Drives
Hmm.
me bonkers because
Interesting.
she has the personality of a child who likes sweets. So
Hmm.
she does things like ask for candy and cake and such, like any little kid would, but she never eats it. She'll take 2 bites and be like, it's too sweet.
Interesting.
I made oatmeal this morning for breakfast from like not from scratch, but like it wasn't the prepackaged, like pre-flavored
Yeah.
kind. And she wouldn't eat it because it was too sweet. Yeah. She's like, I can't eat this, it's too sweet.
That's crazy. Yeah, my kids, since they were babies, like eating weird stuff.
That's
Like,
great.
try this seasoning in your baby
Yeah.
food. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know. They love it.
Great.
All sorts of weird stuff.
That's great, though. It
Yeah.
is. As far as flowers go, honeysuckle and thistle tend to be associated with Aries. Honeysuckle have that, like they have literally in the name, but you have to work for it, right? You have to work for
Hmm.
the nectar,
Right.
and it's a little bit at a time. So it's a very like, I'm just gonna do this. And then thistles are beautiful but prickly, which can be Aries. We can be short-tempered.
Yeah.
Not always, but it can happen with
Gotcha.
all the fire signs. All the fire signs can be a little short-tempered. I am. I'm just very good at not expressing it. Like I will get mad super easy, but I'm very good at being like, I'm just mad. This isn't actually like a thing to be mad about. So I'm not gonna make it anybody else's problem that I'm mad. I'm just gonna.
You need to teach me because I get mad and it's on. Like,
It's
everyone
so
will know.
hard. It's so
Everyone will know.
hard.
Yeah.
It's take. I think because I used to work in healthcare. I
Okay.
had to learn to be mad and not let my patients know that I was mad about what
Yeah.
was happening in the next room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where that came from. And I worked in healthcare for a long time.
Yeah.
And then for animals, I have written down, first of all, you want to think of like quick, aggressive animals like hawks, cheetahs, hummingbirds. These are all quick moving, got that Aries energy. And I also have porcupine written down. They're not particularly fast, but again, we have that prickly exterior. And then you have to write down sheep because we're the ram.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have to.
I think porcupine is the best one though.
I think porcupine is great.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of porcupine quills and I love to use them in my witchcraft. Yeah. They're
I used to
personal.
have a pet hedgehog. They
Yeah.
are also spiky and
Yeah.
they like to curl into balls and hiss. They are not fun pets.
No, but
If
they're
you want
adorable.
something cuddly, do not get a hedgehog.
So currently, Mercury and Venus are in Aries. They are in retrograde, so they will be there until for Mercury the 29th, for Venus the 27th, at which point they will go back into Pisces. And then they will come back into Aries. For Venus, it's April 30th, and for Mercury, it's April 16th. And then they'll be in Aries as they continue to move forward.
Okay. Interesting. So what does that mean for Aries or the world in general?
So Mercury, we always talk about Mercury retrograde. Mercury has to do with a lot of communication and technology. So if you're thinking about having issues with that in relation to an Aries, you're thinking things being stubborn, being difficult to work through. You're thinking about, I mean, literally fires. Maybe be careful. It's just that kind of, or if you're talking about breakdown in communication, you're talking about being rash and impulsive, just like the negative sides of Aries just needing to be really focused. There's nothing wrong with Mercury retrograde. Everybody freaks out about it because, yeah, it can make things difficult to plan and organize, but it's always just a bit opportunity for improvement.
Okay.
Always.
Yeah, people
And
do freak out about it.
yeah, yeah. And I get it. Like, if you're trying to schedule something and it's Mercury retrograde, you'll know. Like us, we tried to schedule this and we kept having
Yes.
to,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
Mercury retrograde.
Yes.
And then Venus, this is your love and relationships planet. So we're talking about maybe being a little selfish in your relationships, maybe like that kind of being a tendency, or impatient with your partner, or any of those kinds of things. Because again, we're in retrograde, so it's negative. I hate quantifying things like that. It feels, or assigning morality to them. It feels like it can have its place to be good or bad, depending on how you use it. And those things will regress back into Pisces. Sort of, we always call that the wrapping up of loose ends, especially if you're going back into Pisces, because that's the last sign, like we talked about last time. And then they'll come back into Aries, but they'll be in forward motion. So it'll be a little more, for lack of a better term, positive. On March 30th, Neptune will enter Aries, and Neptune is, I think it's a 13-year cycle. So it will be in Aries until 2038. And so that's interesting to me, mostly because on May 25th, Saturn also enters Aries, and that kind of combination can be fun and interesting.
What do you mean?
It can be, we're talking about innovation because these are more, the further away from the sun you get, the more general versus personal things are. And so with Neptune and Saturn, we're looking at innovation. We're looking at, what's the word I want here? Clashes. Not that we haven't had that right now as it is, but just like a lot of that stuff hitting a point,
Mhm.
a pinnacle, a moment, turning point. We're looking at a lot of people feeling really strongly about a lot of things, which, you know, we're already headed that direction anyway. But that's just definitely going to amplify those things. But then also amplify the helping hand aspect of Aries, all going to come together to work on these things. Stubbornness of Aries, you know, not letting our values slip away. But then also, you know, you've got the adventurous aspect. So being willing to try new things. All of that is Aries energy in Neptune and Saturn and several of the other planets. But that Saturn will only be in Aries until September.
Is Neptune the longest? Like 13 years? What is not a rotation? What was it called again?
It's just the time it spends in that
Oh,
sign.
okay. Well, is that the longest one
No,
out of the planets?
Pluto is.
How long is Pluto?
I can't remember the exact number, but I am almost 35, and Pluto was in Scorpio for most of my life until very recently. So, yeah, I think it's right around like 30 years or something. Yeah. And it's never perfect. You know, if you count out the actual individual day, it's never perfect. but
Right.
around 30 years, I think. Which means a lot of people born around the same time as me all have the same Pluto, which means that's why that's a generational thing. It affects us as a generation, and that's what we're talking about. Like it gets more general the further back you go. Because now we're not talking about an individual, we're talking about everyone born in that window.
Mm-hmm.
The significant Aries dates in 2025. Actually, this one is, I don't know if you'll get this out in time, and it's fine if you don't, but just for your information, there is a new moon solar eclipse on March 29th that is in Aries during Aries season. So that's kind of cool.
Will we be able to see it?
I think so. I think most of North America is going to be able to see it. I don't count on that because I live in the cloudy place, but maybe if we've got a sky, we were able to see the eclipse, the solar eclipse in like, what was that, 2017 or something?
Yeah, I remember we all at work got given special glasses and we all went outside and stared at the sun.
Yeah, yeah. Full moon in Aries on October 6th. So the October full moon is going to be in Aries. And then significant dates this season, just very quickly, the spring equinox was on March 20th. So that was when the days and nights were equal. The day and night were
Okay,
equal, and we started
gotcha.
moving into longer days. Frankly, one of my favorite days of the year, because I live in the Pacific Northwest and our days get real short.
Oh yeah.
It starts getting dark real early here, and I
Mm,
am so grateful that now the sun goes down at 7:30 and not 4:30. But then, of course, when you get into the summer, then I get frustrated because it's like 10:30 at night and the sun's still up, and I'm like, can we
mm-hmm.
go to bed, please?
Yeah.
And then the full moon in Libra is on April 12th. That's during Aries season, and then my birthday. I put that down.
All right. Well, if you guys liked this episode and liked what Loki and I discussed, please make sure you subscribe, listen again. This is a series. So, what are we going to talk about next month?
Taurus.
Taurus. That's right. You did say that. Awesome. So,
I did
bull,
say that.
right?
Yep, the bull. You thought
Sure
Aries was
that
stubborn.
make sure that you tune in for Taurus next month. And
Hmm.
thank you so much for listening. Bye.